It's a couple of minutes to the top of the hour, but you're just in time for the top bulletin in town. These are the top stories on this August 20th, 2019.
Tonight, Health Ministry overrules Trade Cabinet Secretary's decision on the questionable edible oils. Another division in Cabinet?
Also tonight, government chemist and Port Health Services declared it bad for human consumption, but the Kenya Bureau of Standards approved the release of moldy, rotten and moist ginger.
Plus, the toxic flow streams on.
The major sewerage infrastructure started in around 1926.
We have other items like pads, like diapers, like etc. This makes our work extremely difficult.
We look at the problems clogging Nairobi's sewer system.
And do Wananchi appreciate the coming census?
Mikora could take advantage of the event.
Wache kutuzungusha si kama wananchi round.
Another fund for census, Huduma number also a fund. I think no waste of resources.
The government may be staring a bigger problem in the face.
NTV Tonight with Mark Masai and Smriti Vidyarthi.
It's 9 o'clock. Thanks for joining us. David Agondoa is our sign language interpreter. Tonight, could Trade Cabinet Secretary Peter Munya have slipped up when he ordered the release of edible oils found to be unfit for human consumption into the market?
The Ministry of Health apparently thinks he contravened the law, as oil does not measure up to standards outlined in the Food, Drugs and Chemical Substances Act.
NTV's Victor Kiprop reports that the National Assembly, the Health and Trade Ministries and the DCI are now deeply and openly embroiled in the oily murk, exposing the split between government agencies, which should ideally be working in harmony.
In the latest in a series of conflicting statements by government agencies and ministries, the Ministry of Health says Trade, Industry and Cooperatives Cabinet Secretary Peter Munya violated the law by ordering the release of 503 containers of edible oils found to be unfit for human consumption. In the letter to KEB's Managing Director Bernard Njiraini, the Director of Public Health Kefa Ombachu said the Ministry of Health stands with its earlier position that the release of the consignment, which lacked crucial components such as vitamin A, contravenes with the Food, Drugs, Chemicals and Substances Act on the mandatory fortification of certain foodstuffs. Early this month, KEBS, acting on an order by Cabinet Secretary Peter Munya, waived all fortification requirements for the consignment and granted an unconditional release, arguing that the oil was not harmful to humans.
I'm not justifying anything. I'm just saying we have to balance the need not to put those traders who bought those things in very serious financial distress, because they are also part of our society. Government participated in allowing them to bring those commodities into the country.
And just yesterday, the National Assembly's Committee on Industry, Trade and Cooperatives sought to stop the release of the goods and have them retested, but only found 58 out of the 500 containers, meaning the oils could already be in the market.
Itakuwaje mafuta ambayo ilisemekana haijafikisha kiwango cha kutumika na mwananchi mwaka mmoja uliopita, sasa imepimwa tena na ikaonekana iko sawa.
While Munya argues that the decision to release the oil was made by a number of government agencies, the Ministry of Health and the DCI, which is already investigating Munya over the same, appear to have been blindsided in the matter. In the meantime, the oil could have already found its way to the shelves, just like the mercury-laced sugar and the maize with aflatoxin have in the past. Victor Kiprop, NTV.
From the bad oil to rotten ginger. And once again, we draw the country's attention to the foul smell that came out of the port today.
And this time, it's the Kenya Bureau of Standards in the frying pan for allowing the release of 23,000 tons of rotting ginger imported from Vietnam into the market.
This is despite a warning from the Port Health Services that the ginger was smelly, had mold and a high moisture content.
Well, KEBS on its part says that the ginger had a certificate of conformity from the country of origin that showed it was fit for consumption. NTV's Kevin Mutai Masai will be bringing us that story shortly. But let's just switch focus for a moment now to yet another scandal that has been smouldering for a while. And Josephine Kabura, the hairstylist at the heart of the alleged loss of 791 million shillings at the National Youth Service, earlier today pleaded not guilty to fresh charges of money laundering.
Kafura was charged alongside 9 others at the Milimani Law Courts, where the prosecution told the court that the scheme to clean up the cash stolen from the NYS was executed in a span of 6 months.
Hairdresser and business person Josephine Kafura appeared in court alongside Ben Gethi, a man she once revealed belonged some 60 million shillings. The funds are alleged to have been part of the 791 million stolen from the National Youth Service. The 2 and 6 others denied a fresh charge of money laundering to sanitize funds acquired legally.
My last pronouncement.
Kafura, whose fortune is in question, was in 2017 the subject of an inquiry by the National Assembly, where it also emerged that before going into business with the NYS, her bank account had just 650 shillings. A month later, the account had 1 million shillings after receiving the first paycheck from the NYS. Now she, alongside John Kagondongo, Ben Gethi, Patrick Ogola Onyango, and others are accused of transferring 90 million shillings to a KREP bank account belonging to Patrick Onyango Ogola between December 1st, 2014 and May 30th, 2015.
I mean, we have asked her who is Josephine Kafura. That's general information.
Kafura, who once told a parliamentary committee that she carried stacks of cash in millions of shillings in gunny bags from a bank in Nairobi to a quarry in Kajiado North constituency, was first arraigned and charged in court in 2016. They all pleaded not guilty to the amended charges and are out on a cash bail of 300,000 shillings each. The case will be heard in September. Leila Mohammed, NTV.
Forgive us if you're having dinner, but let's take you back to that story on the smelly, rotten ginger that was imported. And the Kenya Bureau of Standards is on the spot for releasing 23,000 tons of this fresh ginger, apparently, that was imported from Vietnam.
Well, KEBS issued a certificate of conformity despite condemnation by the Port Health Services, which raised concerns over the safety of that consignment. Here now is NTV's Kevin Mutai.
Officials from the Kenya Ports Authority Public Health Office are now drawing the public to the stench of the rot festering at the port. This time, it's about decaying ginger that could have already found its way into your plate. According to documents seen by NTV, Fair Oils EPZ Limited, a company located in Nairobi, imported 23,000 tons of what was meant to be fresh ginger into the country from Vietnam on the 8th of August 2019. 6 days later, Port Health Services seized the consignment and collected samples for testing. The documents further showed the ginger was meant for processing and the extraction of ginger oil for export. The results, which were released by the government chemist on the 14th of August 2019, however, revealed that fresh ginger lying at Micked Container Freight Station in Makanda was in fact rotten. The tests from the physical and organoleptic examinations showed that the consignment was dirty and had mold. The moisture content was also above normal. A day later, the Ministry of Health that had recommended that the consignment be destroyed wrote the letter to the owner of Micked CFS not to release the consignment after the ginger failed to meet the safety standards. But despite the findings by the government chemist, the Kenya Bureau of Standards went ahead and issued a letter of conformity to the owner, who immediately cleared his cargo from the holding facility. KEBS, through its Director of Quality Assurance and Inspection, Bernard Nguyo, in response says, and I quote, EPZ goods are not meant for local consumption, though KEBS issues certificates of clearance without tests for EPZ consignment. End of quote. The Kenya Revenue Authority says the consignment was released by both Kenya Plant Health Inspectorate Service, KEFIS, and KEBS, and declined to give further details. The disappearance of the fresh ginger consignment from a CFS station here in Mombasa remains a mystery, as officials from Port Health Services raise concerns that the product may be already in the shelves for sale. Kevin Mutai, NTV, Mombasa.
All right, certainly something to be concerned about there. Let's move on to the story of the toxic flow now that we are still following, and the story that revealed the extent of raw waste that was flowing into the Nairobi River. Well, it now turns out that plans to upgrade Nairobi's sewerage system that's badly in need of improvement may as well be stuck in the drains.
NTV's Charity Mwangi spoke to a city planner and an engineer with the Nairobi Water and Sewerage Company, who now plugs into the discussion on the faltering efforts to have a proper system up and running.
Nairobi in the pre-colonial era was built to support the racial biases that existed then. This is according to city developers who have owned up to the limitations that have persisted over the years.
That's why we have some neighborhoods that appear more affluent than others, that have better services than others, and then there's a certain segment in society that appears either rejected or put aside.
But the burgeoning population caused great strain on the system that was already too old.
The population growth in Nairobi has been quite rapid, especially for the last 20-30 years. And originally, the major sewerage infrastructure started in around 1926. So most of them are really old. They could be close to now 80 years, and most of them, the way they are designed, are supposed to function very well for like 50 years. So this is a transitional time.
The changing city landscape also piled on the pressure.
For example, the Kileleshwa area, we had very big compounds accommodating one family or two families in half an acre. Today you have apartments and flats that are accommodating over 200 people in a very small piece of land. That is not commensurate with the kind of infrastructure that exists.
The problem is worsened by poor practices. Also, only a small percentage of the county's population is connected to the sewer system.
Sewage from the toilet is not difficult, but when you have other items like pads, like diapers, like etc., this makes our work extremely difficult.
The county has made plans to update the sewerage system to accommodate the population size at a cost of 25 billion shillings. The county has already received a 12 billion shillings loan to finance the ambitious project.
Just 3 years ago, we finished the trunk sewers along Madare River, along Kiu River, but the laterals were not done. Currently, the sewerage coverage in Nairobi is 50%. But we are starting another program with Africa Development Bank that will improve this to 80%.
With Nairobi's waste disposal system down the drain, other rapidly growing towns such as Machakos and Makueni ought to glean some lessons from the sinking mess facing the capital.
For those particular upcoming towns, one point of emphasis would be prioritization of the needs of the people and implementation of those priorities.
Charity Mwangi, NTV.
Attempts to clean up Nairobi River have been on for the last 20 years. From the onset, the exercise was carried out under the Nairobi Basin Program, which has gobbled up billions of shillings, but there is nothing to show for it.
Well, tonight, NTV's Mel Miendo takes a trip down memory lane on a rehabilitation journey that seems to have only come alive in some ways during the late John Mishuki's tenure as Environment Minister.
Those who have been purporting or pretending to be cleaning the river, it's just a mere PR exercise.
True to that statement, what was once a sparkling wonder has over the years turned into a flowing disaster, the Nairobi River. A string of cleanup operations decades later, the river is in its worst state yet. Under Governor Mike Sonko, 800 million shillings was allocated in August 2018 by the National Treasury. The millions were for rehabilitating Nairobi River under the Nairobi Regeneration Project. It bears the marks of a fantasy. 1 year down the line, This remains the state of Nairobi River. In March 2018, Environment Cabinet Secretary Keriako Tobiko referred to an ambitious plan of 110 million.
It is not possible at all for government alone to undertake this exercise.
In March 2015, the Water Resources Authority launched a special program dubbed Athi River Restoration Program to be implemented in phases over a 5-year period. The project was to cost 2.5 billion. 4 years later, nothing to show. 11 years ago, former Environment Minister, the late John Mishuki, was praised for reviving the river that had been killed by the dumping of human and industrial waste.
If I get the resources I'm looking for, and I'm sure, I have no doubt I'm going to get it, this city in 3 years will be different.
Mishuki's cleanup was the 4th attempt at rehabilitating Nairobi River. There was hope then, but years after Mishuki's death, the river is worse than before. The then Nairobi Metropolitan Minister, the late Mutula Kilonzo Senior, in 2008, promised such a clean river that he could swim in it. He was keen on the completion of the project. Unfortunately, both his and Mishuki's dreams seem to have been washed downstream.
A quick calculation of the amount of money used just to rehabilitate Nairobi River from 2007, you get a staggering 19.5 billion shillings. Now, the same problems, the same toxicity, the same conversations in 2019, yet all this money going down and down the drain. Mel Miendo, NTV.
Well, let's try follow what goes down the drain and the system that is meant to make a seamless flow into a proper sewage system. And yesterday, this is just hours after the airing of the toxic flow feature by Charity Mwangi and team, there was quite some reaction as the National Environmental Management Authority moved in and seemed to be taking action, and there was quite some dramatic scenes, at least by what the NEM officials were saying when they showed up at the Nairobi Water Sewerage and the Nairobi Sewerage Company, just in seeking out the managing director, the acting managing director. As you can see there, that is the acting DG, Mamo B. Mamo, who was here yesterday, and they were keen on arresting the acting managing director, Nahashon Muguna, who apparently, according to NEMA officials, was tipped off and managed to make away before being arrested. And everyone has been asking, where is this Nahashon Muguna? Well, ladies and gentlemen, we got him. He's in studio. And Nahashon, where have you been hiding? You're a wanted man.
No, thank you so much. I've not been hiding. Yesterday, I went for another meeting, and accidentally, the NEMA CEO came to our offices. At the meeting, he was purporting that we unfailed to attend. We are not received any invitation for that meeting. Actually, when he was in our offices, when the letter inviting us for the meeting was dropped in our office, yesterday at around 11:30.
Yesterday?
So, yes.
So no summons have been, in terms of restoration orders, have been handed over to your office to stop the drainage of raw sewage into Nairobi River?
As we talk, all the summons issued by NEMA in the past have been acted on. And actually, the effluent you see in the rivers is not directly from the Nairobi City Water and Sewerage Company, trunk sewers or sewer lines. Most of it emanates from informal settlements, which have no sewer systems.
That Nairobi, the Nairobi Water Company is not in charge of in any way, because it's under Nairobi?
We are in charge of sewering the whole of the city.
Yes.
In collaboration with other government agencies.
Okay.
Like at the Waterworks Development Authority.
Right.
But informal settlements have their own challenges in this town. One, they lack formal
land tenure.
Okay, so let's get it straight. You have responded in terms of the restoration orders from the NEMA officials. You've responded to all of them in terms of stopping the drainage of raw sewage into Nairobi River.
Yes, which touches on Nairobi City Water and Sewerage Company sewer network.
All right.
Otherwise,
so you're talking about, when you think that, you're talking about it being all blocked in terms of there's no sewage,
if it
raw
blocks
sewage getting into the Nairobi River.
From the sewer lines,
yes.
we have addressed all blockages.
All blockages.
Yes.
So in terms of this arrest warrant or the attempt to arrest you, it's an attempt in futility? You have no...
Not in futility.
Yes.
What I can say is the orders the CEO was purporting and been issued to the company and already been responded to.
Okay.
And there is now order which is pending, restoration order which is pending as we talk.
All right.
So we have addressed all the areas where sewers were spilling in the rivers. What is happening, and I've been watching your serialization, is wastewater coming mostly from informal settlements, wastewater coming from various slaughterhouses in the town, like Dakuleti, Kemaiko area. And you remember 2018, all of those slaughterhouses had been closed because they were not pre-treating the waste from slaughterhouses. That's why we find Nairobi River and Black, Ngong River, Black, but they were opened because the association of the abattoirs gave an undertaking. They're going to start treating the waste from those places, which they have not done.
Bwana Muguna, as the acting managing director, is your conscience clear as the Nairobi River is murkied by raw sewage that you have no responsibility in the state of Nairobi River as it is from your position, and you will not in any way take responsibility for this in terms of saying you failed in your work?
You see, you cannot say I failed in my work. That's totally not correct, because the problems in Nairobi cannot be solved by one government agency. It must be approached through a multi-sectoral approach. If it's planning, it should be addressed through planning, because you find many of the people have titles, they have constructed on riparian land, areas where there are not sewers. That's why in your civilization you have been showing houses discharging sewage into the river. They are constructed next to the river. There is no sewer line on the rivers. The sewer lines are above the houses, and they are higher levels than the houses, so you cannot connect those houses.
So are you saying then, by expressing and at least painting the picture, the bigger picture of the challenge that you face, that as Nairobi Water and Sewerage Company, you are in a hopeless situation?
That's why I've said the government and formed a multi-sectoral organization called Nairobi Regeneration Program, which was meant to address problems of those houses which are directly discharging waste water to the rivers, which are not sewered, or those houses which are not sewered. They have titles, they have construction on riparian land, which is public land. They were issued with the titles. They have houses already there. They are discharging because there is no sewer line in that area, and that one can only be addressed using the existing statutes. One, there is a Water Resources Authority, which should reclaim the riparian land. Two, areas where there are no sewers, like in those ones, those houses should be removed from the rivers. Areas where there are informal settlements, we should move forward and construct ablution blocks for those informal settlements so that they can stop discharging the waste directly to the rivers. Otherwise, that's why I'm saying now, Nairobi Regeneration Program was most suited to address the problems which are facing pollution of the rivers.
So you don't see the state of Nairobi River as an indictment on your part in failure. What responsibility do you take?
My responsibility as the Water and Sewerage Company, Nairobi City Water and Sewerage Company, is to ensure we maintain all the sewer lines which are existing in the city.
And you feel that 100% you've done this?
It may not be 100%, but we are there. What you should understand is it has, most of our sewer lines operate at more than
their design capacity overloaded.
Okay.
They flow at more than half bore. Now, if you remember very well, 2 years or 1 year ago, even this nation was used to experience sewer overflow, but we came and ratified the sewer line BID here on Kimathi. And we have done all over in the city where we feel we can be able to do it. The areas where we cannot be able to do such programs.
All right. You have tried to at least express the place of the Nairobi Water Sewerage Company, but it does show, at least the state of Nairobi River, that it is a dire state and dire situation that needs fixing and an approach from all the agencies concerned. So thank you very much for your time. But this focus continues, and it's not just in Nairobi. Lake Nakuru was once another pearl in the chain of lakes that adorn the Great Rift Valley, but it has been losing its allure. A cocktail of silt from the high-lying farmlands, sewage and solid plastic waste are choking the life out of the lake in the country's most visited national park. The lake is also no longer a sight to behold, as the flamingos that once glazed the waters have since migrated. It's been a struggle to draw them back, and NTV's Bridget Singana visited Lake Nakuru and reports on why the situation is urgent.
The Lake Nakuru lies on the floor of the Rift Valley, a water reservoir in the heart of Nakuru, which is a quaint landmark of the county. A lovely haunt for picnickers and the discerning traveller with a sense of adventure, but it's now in an unkempt state. This green stream of raw sewage flows freely into the lake. Along with it, the solid waste from Nakuru and its suburbs, which is mostly plastic, washed down here by the rains currently beating down on this region. That this filth has been flowing into the lake is nothing new.
The quality of water is not the best as it used to be because of waste disposed inappropriately in town, find its way all the way to the lake. Also, the sewer treatment is not the best, but they're doing their best to improve the same.
The Njoro River is one of the 5 rivers that drain into the saline Lake Nakuru. By the time it reaches the lake's mouth, the water is brown and laden with plastic bottles. James Makeba is an environmental activist whose anti-plastic campaign saw Kenya ban single-use plastic bags 2 years ago.
I have been involved in Njoro River cleanup. I think this is the 4th year now. In a year, we do like 2 cleanups, and almost like a week later after cleanup, these plastic bottles always go back, which begs the question, are cleanups really sustainable? Cleanups are just like first aid. We are not treating the problem, and the problem is plastic.
Lake Nakuru is one of the most visited parks in the country, a key source of revenue and employment. A big portion of the lake is no longer fit for the growth of algae, and as a result, the specks of pink flamingos that once carpeted the lake's shores, drawing bird watchers, are nearly no more.
I think there's need for greater sensitization to the communities living upstream. The things they do upstream will eventually affect the lake. So it is important that proper education and awareness is done to the communities, and at the same time encourage cleaning campaigns.
In May, the Kenya Wildlife Service embarked on a 100-day rapid results initiative to improve the Lake Nakuru ecosystem and in a way bring back the flamingos.
We can say things have improved because the flamingos are coming back. The numbers are so far impressive.
Industries, the government, to be more aware and concerned about the products they make, which are getting into the environment.
The famous Lake Nakuru National Park is known for sites such as these, the lesser and greater flamingos that are now dotting sections of this lake. But in the past, this was a sea of flamingos, but the water quality, in a sense, has affected their food and also their population here. Bridget Ngana, NTV, Nakuru County.
What an appalling sight.
It is indeed. Certainly hope those flamingos go back. Have you ever visited?
Yes, I have. Back in the day when the picture was a bit different, but it's sad to see it's become what it is right now.
Yeah. All right, let's take a break.
That's right.
mimi najua kumekuwa na mambo ya kufanya registration ya huduma namba.
The government may be staring a bigger problem in the face. We'll tell you more after this.
Breakfast is not complete without the new Minute Maid Nutri-Defense's Nectar Plus. Complete the most important meal of the day with the goodness of great tasting juice fortified with vitamin E and zinc to complement your family's nutritional needs. Minute Maid Nutri-Defense's Nectar Plus. Breakfast complete.
Hey, mister. Where you going?
Men clean their cars themselves. I'll also clean my own bike. I'm grown up now.
Then you'll need this. The most pleasant surprise for a mother is to see her child growing up. But I know as he learns to take more responsibility, he'll face more dirt, germs, and the risk of illness.
That's why you need strong Dettol protection, because Dettol cleans and protects against 100 illness-causing germs.
Growing up needs Dettol protection.
Now you can get your Uber ride with a phone call. Call 0800 722 000 to ride.
NHIF wishes to notify the public that the jobs advertisement making rounds on social media titled National Hospital Insurance Fund NHIF Entry-Level Job Opportunities 2019 has not been placed by NHIF. The advertisement is a hoax and should be ignored. NHIF is currently not hiring and will do proper communication in the event of any available job opportunities in the future. NHIF, afya yetu, bima yetu.
Manze, I'm hungry.
Yes, with some extra fries. Delivery on the way.
So extra.
Aren't you tired of hoping for reality?
So extra.
Has to be extra because extra data is always better with extra minutes. Dial *544# to subscribe and share live extra. Telkom, moving with you.
When the spirit of Kenya got going that magical day, it never looked back. And now, the same spirit is ready to take Kenya to the next level, led proudly by a new generation. Kenya Kin, Shangilia, Hustle Kenya.
The power vested in me, I now pronounce you husband and wife.
Our world felt like a storybook. We were unstoppable. Eternity was ours. She never wavered from the vow she made to me on our wedding day. I wish I could say the same. I need you to sign the divorce papers.
The greatest gift a father can give his children is to love their mother.
As the days turned into weeks, I could feel myself changing inside, not just emotionally, but physically, spiritually, and even mentally as well.
Kisiwa Technical Training is an ISO-certified institution offering quality technical and entrepreneurship training relevant to the changing industrial and market demands. Apply now. Knowledge and skills for better life.
Thanks for staying with us. Well, with there being nothing to show yet for the Huduma number mass registration drive concluded 3 months ago, there are those who view Saturday's upcoming national census as a waste of time and money.
The national government has come under fire for failing to better coordinate its functions, but even as the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics clarifies that failing to cooperate with the enumerators is an offense, apathy towards the exercise is apparent.
NTV's Olive Burrows gives voice to the concerns raised by Kenyans.
Once every 10 years, the statistician comes knocking. Armed with a set of questions, the enumerators seek to put a face to the 10 of millions who inhabit the patch of land Kenyans call home. And that time is once again upon us.
Since 1969, when we started doing census as an independent country,
census is normally done in the month of August.
But coming 3 months after Kenyans were strong-armed into registering for a Huduma number, the exercise may be marred by the apathy that's typically witnessed in by-elections and runoffs.
We had a Huduma number, which actually we were bulldozed by the Ministry of Interior for everybody to register. And I want to say, even before we get the results, the government is now here hasty with another census. What was very difficult for the government to conduct the two activities at the same time.
Wawache kutuzungusha si kama wananchi rounds, kwa sababu mimi najua kumekuwa na mambo ya kufanya registration ya huduma number.
Another fund for census, huduma number also fund. I think no a waste of resources.
We just came from huduma number, which would still do the same purpose, and we wonder why it keeps on being repeated, why it serves the same purpose.
But those charged with the process insist that the 18.6 billion set aside for the exercise is money well spent.
There are very, very few countries in the world that do not do a census. There can't be more than 5.
That's not to say that the State Department of Planning or the KNBS are oblivious of the lagging public confidence in the process.
If there are not serious issues of insecurity, like if we don't have incidents where our enumerators were attacked or where people actually refused, we shall actually say that we have actually we have actually been able to manage the census process very accurately.
Safety concerns and suspicion that the data collected may be captured for political ends have also informed the skepticism that's met the census exercise.
Usiku waizi pia wanaweza kuja, wanaweza sema ati hao ni wa serikali na sio wa serikali.
Nonetheless, KNBS is optimistic that as with Labour, the final push is the one that counts.
I know in Central Province wanataka kumera. Tumere.
Olive Burrows, NTV.
County governments and their staff will have to wait longer for any disbursements from national government as Parliament's mediation team got off to a faltering start, with each side holding tight to its point of view.
But as the push and pull slows down the pace of mediation and stalls operations in some counties, governors now seem to have given up the fight for more, saying they will work with what they get.
NTV's Kennedy Moredi has that story.
The situation in counties is only getting worse. In some counties, health workers have left patients to fend for themselves as they protest the delay in payment of their salaries, and there may be no reprieve in sight. A mediation committee bringing together 18 representatives from the National Assembly and the Senate got off to a rocky start as the MPs traded barbs with each other, holding their ground.
Don't expect that you can go into the national government's budget to get any money.
If you want to get money from the national treasury, for the national government, call the accounting officer for the national treasury to come and sit here. If you want us to get money, let me finish. If you want us to get money from the judiciary, let the chief registrar of judiciary sit here. Sure. That is her money. Okay. If you want to get from the national, from the parliament, the two clerks as the accounting officers must sit here.
The Senate is insisting that the National Assembly should move into some of the state agencies that have their services devolved and cut on their expenditures and advance that money into the counties so as to raise the monies that they have been asking for from the 316.5 billion shillings that they are proposing to the 335 billion shillings that they are proposing too.
Why don't we take some money from the universal health care and give it as shareable revenue, but we give it as conditional grants to county governments?
The idea that counties are being given a favor that, okay, this is the amount we have in our budget, where do we get the rest from, is technically and fundamentally flawed.
These monies are eaten in the counties. Why are you people fighting for this money like this? These monies, when they are eaten in the counties, you're not there.
Governors have been pushing for a raise in the equitable share since the beginning of the year, when they met at the Intergovernmental Budget and Economic Council meetings, chaired by the Deputy President, but the challenges they have encountered this far seem to be wearing them down.
Let me get any money, even if it's 200, 100. I will tell my ancestors that we tried this, but some people somewhere didn't want devolution.
Kennedy Moredi, NTV at Parliament Buildings.
Nandi Senator Samson Cherargei has been released after hours of questioning.
The legislator was arrested over remarks he made at a funeral in Lesos in Kapsabet at the weekend, where he warned the deputy president's opposers using words considered inflammatory and inciting.
Cherargei walked out of his home in Eldoret and into the police vehicle as detectives had camped outside his residence this morning. He was taken to the Eldoret police station to record a statement and later driven to the Kisumu Central Police Station, where he was released on a personal bond.
Detectives in Eldoret summoned the senator on Monday, the 19th of August, but he failed to show up. He is to present himself at the DCI offices in Eldoret on Thursday, the 29th of August, for directions on his arraignment.
You're watching NTV Tonight. Time for another quick break, but after this...
In business, the Controller of Budget reveals who is responsible for counties' financial struggles. We let you know who on Business News next.
Sensitivity is a short, sharp pain that people experience when they have something hot or cold getting to the nerve of the tooth, causing that discomfort. If the sensitivity is left alone, it may get worse. Dentists recommend Sensodyne to their patients. It's able to get inside the tooth and calm the nerve of the tooth down, and the proof's in the results. It works.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. What a wonderful world.
Sona moja imetengenezwa kwa njia spesheli ili kupambana na maumivu kwa haraka. Sona moja ina aspirin kama kiungo. Sona moja, kitulizo kamili. Maumivu yakizidi, pata ushauri wa daktari. Welcome to Kisiwa Technical Training Institute. Kisiwa Technical Training is an ISO-certified institution offering quality technical and entrepreneurship training relevant to the changing industrial and market demands. Apply now for our September 2019 intakes in the following: diploma and certificate courses: electrical engineering, building and construction technology, business administration, mechanical engineering, informational communication technology, communication, automotive engineering, library information sciences, human resource development, food and beverages, business studies, general agriculture and supplies management. Kisiwa Technical Training Institute. Knowledge and skills for better life.
You in the pollution. You dry throat, Strepsils. Gal in the smoke with a raspy voice, Strepsils. Hello in the downpour with a scratchy throat, take Strepsils. Get soothing relief for any throat irritation. Strepsils with its medicinal ingredients will heal the harm down to your throat from external factors. Strepsils. Strepsils for a dry, itchy, raspy, scratchy throat.
Making my family some nutritious porridge is a painstaking process. First, I have to find all the ingredients needed, and there are many. For vitamins, proteins, and minerals, I need cassava, sorghum, millet. You no longer need to go through all that to make nutritious porridge. All you need is NutriPro.
You don't have to go through the trouble of finding, measuring, and weighing all these vital ingredients. New NutriPro porridge flour comes fortified with 13 vitamins, proteins, and minerals. This means that you have more time to focus on what's important, giving your family the healthy start they deserve. NutriPro, bringing families together. From Tropical Brand.
Birthday party. Birthday party. Are we not invited? We have gifts. Malaria.
Mommy, best!
Run.
Oh, die.
Party.
Compared to an ordinary spray, Mortein Doom Power Guard kills disease-causing pests instantly. Mortein Doom Power Guard.
Kitambo nilikuwa natamani sana kuwa lawyer, nikatamani kuwa pilot. Eventually dream ya ngoma ikuje ikatake over mpaka nikasahau kila kitu.
We're driven by the desire to see people aspire to greatness and achieve it. That's why we create platforms for all to showcase their talents, connecting them to opportunities. Tuko nawe kila wakati.
Let's get down to business. Welcome, I am Julian Amboko. Now, the Controller of Budget, Agnes Odhiambo, has faulted the National Assembly's delay in releasing funds to ministries, departments and agencies in line with their procurement plans, action which has caused low absorption of development budgets and led to a spike in pending bills. Odhiambo spoke while recounting her 8-year term in office, which comes to an end later this month. Lillian Carrier with the details.
When the Office of the Controller of Budget was established in 2011 and 51-year-old Agnes Odhiambo appointed by the President to head it, it sparked hope that budgets in government would be handled more efficiently for the timely implementation of projects that benefit the public. In perhaps her last public appearance as the Controller of Budget, Odhiambo revealed culprits behind the reduced uptake of funds, both at the national level and in counties.
Is this hostile relationship between county executives and county assemblies? This affects the budget-making process because budgets are not approved in time.
Pending bills, which had increased to more than 100 billion shillings in the previous financial year, have adversely affected the economy, disrupting the smooth flow of operations for many businesses.
Counties need to pay small and medium enterprises.
Odhiambo highlighted high expenditure on salaries and capacity constraints in the oversight and management of budgets as some of the challenges facing counties, and asked them to look into ways of sealing financial loopholes to boost revenue collection.
Through looking at the budgets, we have observed that counties are collecting less revenue than their potential. Counties should consider using Kenya Revenue Authority to collect the taxes on their behalf.
Businesses and small and medium enterprises in particular at times suffer irrevocable damage to their operations as a result of the delayed payments without compensation.
You realize that SMEs make a very little margin. So in truth, what that does for a typical SME is you're literally choking them.
Policies to address delayed payments by the government or business entities have been the subject of discussion among government and trade facilitation groups, but no concrete action, such as imposition of penalties, has been taken to prevent their recurrence. Lillian Kiarie, NTV.
And elsewhere, food processing company Del Monte now says that only 13% of its pineapple plantations rely on overhead irrigation using water from Athi River. This is in response to a feature by NTV about Nairobi River, which showed that the company uses contaminated water from the river to irrigate produce it sells in both local and international markets. Del Monte further says that chemical analysis of water is conducted regularly through accredited laboratories to ensure it is fit for use, and that water used for fruit and juice processing comes from Thika River. The company has not indicated how regularly the said chemical tests are undertaken. And on to capital markets. The government has put 500 million shillings on offer through Makeba in the latest reopening of the mobile phone-based bond. You now have 3 weeks to invest in that bond. Alex Mwangi spoke exclusively to the Chief Executive of the Central Depository and Settlement Corporation, Rose Mambo, on the bond and how it unpacked salient features regarding the same.
Now that Makeba is reopening, what exactly is on offer?
10% interest. It's tax-free. Minimum amount for an initial application is 3,000 shillings, but thereafter you can invest in increments of whatever amount you have. Because this is a reopen of a previous Makeba bond, it will run for the remaining term of the bond. And the bond has 1 year to run, so it will run until September next year, at which point the government will redeem it and will pay back all the money, including the accrued interest with the final redemption.
I sought to find out what would happen should the 500 million shilling target be overshot.
There's a green shoe option for the government will take up additional amounts if we have offers exceeding the 500 million.
What advantages does Makeba have over other types of investments?
First of all, the ease of access, because it's on your mobile phone. You don't have to go and start registering with a stockbroker or opening an account. Additionally, you get 10% interest, which is a very good rate of interest given the prevailing rates in the market, and it's tax-free. So you'll not be taxed the usual 15% withholding tax.
Makeba, an innovative way of investment that is open to the masses, has struggled to gain traction with members of the public, in part owing to a weak marketing campaign and scarce disposable incomes. Interested investors can take part in Makeba by dialing the USSD code *889#. Alex Mwangi, NTV.
And Kenyans may have to wait until 2023 for the economy to begin reaping the fruits of exporting oil. This is when the country shall begin full-scale crude oil exports. Despite having concluded its first crude oil export deal to sell 200,000 barrels of oil at 1.3 billion shillings, petroleum and mining officials say the earnings will largely go towards recovering production and transportation costs. The actual export of oil from that sale will take place this month. There is talk of Kenya reaping in excess of 1 trillion shillings per annum in revenue if the export volumes rise to the desired levels.
We're hoping to get to an investment destination by the second half of next year, which is 2020. It will take us about 36 months to construct or put the infrastructure in place. So if we keep to that timetable, then we will be in a production phase on a full field basis, 2020 plus 36 months. Oil price at $70 a barrel. If you're producing 70,000 barrels, I think you clearly work out that the revenue to the country will be in the order of about 1.5 billion.
Out of 1 barrel, a certain percent goes to pay back the costs, and a certain percent goes to what is known as profit oil, and that's what comes to the government of Kenya. If we accelerate the cost recovery, we get more of the equity oil quicker. If it takes us longer to recover the costs, then again, it takes us longer to get to the full profit oil that will be there.
And Family Bank has more than doubled its half-year net profit from 2019 to 364.4 million shillings from 1.5 million shillings last year. The bank managed to marginally reduce its total operating expenses by 61.1 million shillings to 3.1 billion shillings during the 6-month period. The bank gained from net interest income, posting 2.3 billion shillings from 2 billion shillings the previous year. That performance helped boost its total operating income by 10% to 3.6 billion shillings from 3.3 billion shillings earlier.
This is 900. Thank you.
And that's it from the business desk, but coming up. South African stand-up comedian Trevor Noah has been laughing all the way to the bank. We'll tell you more.
Selena! Toto, where's Mummy? Today's a toilet day. What? Oh.
Selena!
Toilet day?
Tomorrow we're hosting a party and it's a matter of my reputation.
It's a toilet, not a white shirt. Even if you spend your entire day cleaning with bleach and detergent, it still won't be party ready.
Impossible.
Challenge. Harpic 10X. Even if you use bleach and detergent 10 times, they won't give you the same sparkling clean toilet that Harpic 10X will give you.
Wow!
Harpic 10X. Harpic, Kenya's #1 toilet cleaner.
Nation FM. More music and less talk. Nairobi 96.3, Mombasa 101.5, Meru 93.9, Nyeri 104.9, Eldoret 102.7, and Nakuru on 97.7. Follow us on social media on Facebook at Nation FM, Instagram at Nation FM, and on Twitter at Nation FM KE. Nation FM. More music and less talk.
It's okay, I'm okay. What happened? It's just a little scratch, Mom. How can I play with bigger boys? If I'm afraid of little scratches, right?
What comforts a mother most is to see her child growing up.
Done, I'll go.
Of course. But I know that as he learns to be brave, he'll face even more germs and the risk of infection.
That's why you need strong Dettol protection, because Dettol kills 100 illness-causing germs.
Growing up needs Dettol protection.
Rough and tough quality textured coating gives your walls a tough and beautiful finish. Available in over 6,000 shades, it hides surface imperfections. Call us on 0709 887 000 to place your order. Crown. If you like it, crown it.
Looking for an institution to further your studies and wholesome growth in a serene environment? Kenya Methodist University KEMU is your best choice. Join our market-driven programs at Diploma, Bachelor's, Master's and PhD in Meru, Nairobi and Mombasa campuses and shape your career path. September 2019 and January 2020 intakes are ongoing. Call us today on 0724 256 162 or 0725 751-878. Kenya Methodist University. The future is here.
When the spirit of Kenya got going that magical day, it never looked back. And now, the same spirit is ready to take Kenya to the next level, led proudly by a new generation. Kenya Kin, Shangilia, Hustle ya Kenya.
Welcome back. Mildred Atieno, an administrator of a Facebook group Buyer Beware, has been released from police custody a day after she was arrested on claims of human trafficking.
2 women recorded statements at the Borrego police station saying the blogger and her husband had organized to facilitate their travel overseas to work, but when they opted out of the deal, they were told to pay some money before being released.
At Borrego police station in Nairobi, 2 women recorded statements claiming that blogger Mildred Atieno and a man identified as Joram Odhiambo Liech held them captive after they opted out of a deal to go and work in Lebanon. According to them, having declined the plan, they were required to pay 20,000 shillings, an amount they did not have.
When they came to Nairobi, remember, as I've said, they had been promised that they are going to be taken to Lebanon to work in a supermarket. But on the 17th, on the 16th, when they met the culprit took them to some place in town called Unafric House, where they filled some forms. And in those forms, they were asked to indicate that they were going to Lebanon as housemaids.
Mildred, an administrator of a Facebook page, Buyer Beware, had been arrested on Monday. She claimed that her suffering was because she published a recording accusing Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko of abetting corruption at City Hall. Kamukunji OCPD, under whose jurisdiction Buruburu falls, disputed the claim, saying she was being held for human trafficking offences.
She was arraigned in court today for an offence of creating disturbance in a manner likely to cause breach of peace. But for the other victim, he was released on cash bail. The key suspect was released on cash bail as they conclude investigations.
When the news of Mildred's arrest hit social media platforms, her followers and supporters began demanding for her release as they cited foul play.
We are yet in pursuance of that because we are yet to establish if actually the documents that are in place are genuine or she has the legal license to run the business of the same nature.
Police are investigating the case. Sharon Baranga, NTV.
All right, elsewhere. Now, you may have been laughing at his jokes, and he has not been joking as he laughs all the way to the bank.
South African comedian Trevor Noah has been named the 4th richest stand-up comic in the world.
Well, according to Forbes' Rich List of 2019, the Soweto-born raked in $28 million last year alone from various projects, including his day job as the TV host of The Daily Show.
Well done to him. But the bulk of his income came from his 70-stop world tour as a stand-up comedian, making him eligible for the list of richest stand-ups.
Well, other sources of income were his 2 shows on Netflix and book sales from his best-selling autobiography, Born a Crime, which is set to be adapted into a film with Lupita Nyong'o starring as his mother. Does it make you wonder what you've been doing with your life?
No. It makes me actually wonder whether I've contributed to his wealth, because I'm a keen follower and a fan.
You
well done to
probably
him.
have.
Yes, well done to him. And yes, we take a break at this point for sports coming up.
New Harambee Stars coach Francis Kimanzi pledges to build on Sebastian Minye's foundation. Details after the break on NTV Sport.
Why aren't you wearing the ring?
2 is company.
I don't know what I'm supposed to feel about this.
Star Times. Enjoy digital life.
Birthday party. Are we not invited?
We have gifts.
Malaria.
Mommy, best!
Run.
Oh, die.
Party.
Compared to an ordinary spray, Mortein Doom Power Guard kills disease-causing pests instantly. Mortein Doom Power Guard.
This is to notify the general public that following the enactment of Water Act 2016, Rift Valley Water Services Board has changed its name to Rift Valley Waterworks Development Agency with effect from 26th April 2019. Our new mandate entails development of water infrastructure within our 7 counties. All contractual agreements we had before are not affected by this change. For more information, visit our website www.rvwwda.go.ke. Rift Valley Waterworks Development Agency. Dependable water infrastructure.
When the spirit of Kenya got going that magical day, it never looked back. And now, the same spirit is ready to take Kenya to the next level. Led proudly by a new generation. Kenya King, Shangilia, Hasulia Kenya.
The power vested in me, I now pronounce you husband and wife.
Our world felt like a storybook. We were unstoppable. Eternity was ours.
She never wavered from the vow she made to me on our wedding day. I wish I could say the same. I need you to sign the divorce papers.
The greatest gift a father can give his children is to love their mother.
As the days turned into weeks, I could feel myself changing inside, not just emotionally, but physically, spiritually, and even mentally as well.
Kisiwa Technical Training is an ISO-certified institution offering quality technical and entrepreneurship training relevant to the changing industrial and market demands. Apply now, knowledge and skills for better life.
It's time to play. Welcome to NTV Sport. I am Warote Kiru. Kenya has bagged her first medal at the 2019 African Games after the national women's beach volleyball team settled for silver after going down in straight sets to Egypt. In the final, Ida Waringa enjoyed the day's sunny action at Saleh Beach in Morocco and filed this report.
With a stunning view of Saleh overlooking them and the crashing waves of the Atlantic Ocean beside them, Team Kenya started the day on a high, ensuring either a first or second-place podium finish after beating Mozambique 2-0 in a clinical semi-final that ended 21-18 and 21-15. The victory set up a tantalizing final clash with Egypt. However, coach Patrick Owino's earlier strategy of tiring the Egyptians out by serving to the back court did not go to plan, and his earlier observation of Kenya's poor blocking proved to be their undoing as Egypt won the game 2-0 with scores of 21-13 and 21-15.
I must say I'm a bit excited today because we've reached the finals of this championship, which is no mean achievement.
The duo of Gaudensia Makoha and Naomi To improved on their inaugural Africa Beach Games bronze medals in June 2019, while setting the bar higher for Kenya, who missed out on a podium finish in the previous edition of the African Games in 2015 in Congo. Next up, for the Kenya women's beach volleyball team, following a fantastic performance here at the 2019 African Games, will be the Tokyo 2020 qualifiers, which will first be held in a zonal format before the Continental Championship. For NTV, I'm Ida Warenga in Saleh Beach, Morocco.
Wouldn't we all have to be where Ida is? Now on to back to Nairobi, and the world champion Elijah Manangoi, as well as a former African and Commonwealth Games champion Unisum, are among contenders for top honors in the Kenya National Championship, I should say, after winning their respective heats on day one. Brian Otwal spent the day at the Nyayo Stadium and filed this report.
After being closed for over 2 years, Nyayo National Stadium was officially opened for track and field events. Day one of the AK National Athletics Championship saw 1500 meters world champion Elijah Manangoi book a final slot after holding off stiff competition to win his semi-final.
I'm a little bit faster now, day by day, so I think I'm happy from when I come back.
It was a sibling affair as 1500 meters world under-18 champion George Manangoi also took part ahead of the 2019 African Games.
This race was the first of the race, which is preparing me for the All-African Games.
The women's 5,000 meters final on Thursday is a loaded field that has world under 25,000 meters champion Beatrice Chebet, Commonwealth 5,000 meters silver medalist Margaret Chelimo, as well as 2013 5,000 meters silver medalist Mercy Cherono.
The final and semis are different, so it's kind of you're jump-starting your body in the semis for the finals.
Veterans Timothy Cheruyot and Eunice Sum reigned supreme in the 800 meters event, while world under-18 champion Mary Morai is one of the athletes to make it to the finals in the 400 meters. Save for the winners of the 2018 IAAF Diamond League who got wildcards, Athletics Kenya will be seeking to make up a strong team that will fly Kenya's flag at the Doha World Championships. This in their quest to better their medals haul of 11 medals, including 5 gold, 2 silver and 4 bronze, won in the 2017 edition in London. Reporting for NTV Sports, my name is Brian Otwal at the Nyayo Stadium.
On to football, and Francis Kimanzi has said he will be seeking to build on the foundation left by departed Frenchman Sébastien Meunier as he was officially unveiled as a national football team head coach. Kimanzi, who is the immediate former assistant coach, will be assisted by Zedekiah Zico Otieno as his first assistant. Lawrence Webo will be the goalkeeper trainer, and Enos Karani will serve as the fitness coach. The technical bench has been handed 2-year contracts. Kimanzi's first assignment will be a friendly against Uganda, slated for early next month.
So I think it's difficult sometimes to satisfy everyone around the beautiful game, but we'll try most of the time, in selection, in monitoring and guiding the players. We'll try our level best, but I can tell you it will never be easy.
We have thought about it, discussed with him, and we think that he's best placed now in Kenyan history to drive this team forward after his experience being with the national team.
The national football under-15 team drew 1-1 with Burundi in the third Group A match of the ongoing Sekafa under-15 championships in Eritrea. After the draw, Kenya, which has won twice, is level on points with Burundi, who have also won their opening 2 matches of the championships. Kenya concludes her group matches against hosts Eritrea on Thursday. The top 2 teams from each of the 2 groups will automatically qualify to the semis. The 12th edition of the East Africa Community Military Games has gotten to day 7 at various venues around Nairobi. Volleyball played at the Kasarani Indoor Gymnasium. Kenya thrashed Burundi in straight sets of 25-13, 25-18, 25-15, while Uganda hammered Tanzania by a similar scoreline of 25-23, 25-14 and 25-19. In netball, netball was played at the Kenya School of Monetary Studies, and Kenya walloped Burundi 92-12, while Uganda beat Tanzania 49-34. In basketball, Kenya lost 79-91 to Rwanda, while South Sudan overcame Tanzania 93-62. In football, Rwanda beat Tanzania 3-1. In our continued focus on stadia in the Rift, we take a look at the Cardinal Stadium in Borrego County, which is in a deplorable condition and that has been abandoned for years. A report by Auditor General Edward Ouko in the 2017-2018 financial year revealed that a contractor was awarded a contract of 17.5 million shillings for the rehabilitation of the stadium in December 2017 to be completed in February 2018. However, lack of building capacity by the contractor and a lack of title deed for the land has seen the construction stall.
Documents. There's no title deeds for this field, and that also has dragged our completion of the work.
Let's Walk the Greens and the Safari Tour Golf Series has gone regional with 12 events lined up across 4 East African countries between August 2019 and March 2020. According to the Safari Tour Tournament Director, the going into East Africa was a decision influenced by the request by President Uhuru Kenyatta. 7 events will be held in Kenya, 3 in Uganda and 1 each in Rwanda and Tanzania. The Safari Tour will tee off at the Nyali Golf and Country Club on Saturday. That's a sport. Congratulations to the Kenya women's beach volleyball team for their silver medal. More updates from Morocco from Aida later on. But for now, that's the sport. Back to Smriti and Mark.
All right, Warode, thanks very much for the sports and news. And thanks to David Agondoa, our sign language interpreter. That's where we leave it on NTV tonight. Sidebar is coming up in just a moment with Ken Mijungu. I'm Smriti Vidyarthi.
I'm Mark Masai. Have a good night.